Hey, thanks for stopping by. This is Zarbo Audio Projects, and today we're continuing the construction of the JAT ZAP speaker project. Before we actually apply veneer, there's one more thing I want to take care of. Since we do have the driver openings and recesses already created, I'm going to drill the driver mounting holes now, before veneer is applied. I'm kind of funny on what screw I use to mount drivers. I have a lot of different sizes of screws, but I like to let the driver tell me what kind of screw it wants. Here I'm trying the number 8 screw in the tweeter, and it doesn't look bad, but I kind of like the look of the number 6 screw better. Plus, the number 6 screw is a better fit for the woofer as well. As you can see, trying to fit a number 8 screw in the woofer mounting hole doesn't allow the head to have enough room to cinch down tight. It will end up bending the metal frame and possibly dislodging the cardboard mounting ring as well, especially when you try and remove the screw. The number 6 screw just fits much better in this case, so that's what I'm going with. I always pre-drill holes for mounting screws, and to do that I just find a drill bit that is about the same size as the shaft of the screw that I intend to use. I also often run the screws in and out to create some threads, then hit the holes with some super glue to harden up the fibers. Well, I communicated with John about which veneer he might like on his cabinets, and he liked the striped ebony, and it's a good choice. It's pretty good looking stuff. I get most of my veneer from veneersupplies.com. I'll leave a link for you so you can check them out for yourself if you'd like. Often when I'm veneering a cabinet, I'll duplicate each panel I intend to veneer with this stuff called builder's paper. It's cheap stuff. I purchased mine from Home Depot, and I've used it on the subfloor in my house before laying down hardwood flooring, and I put on top of my counters while I was laying down tile on our backsplash in the kitchen, stuff like that. Well, it's also perfect for using as a template for your veneer. As you can see, I'm trying to lay out the various pieces so that I can get the most out of the veneer that I have. You also have to take grain direction into account as well. It looks like I can just cover the tops and bottoms like this if I alternate them back and forth to tighten things up a bit. Lots to consider, which is why making templates of your various panels is smart. Veneer is expensive after all, and we want to get the most out of each sheet that we can. Well, I have a bit of a problem. I could have swore I had a pretty full jug of this heat lock iron-on veneer glue, but doggone it, I don't see anymore. So I'm going to have to move on over to the Tape Bond 2 and do the iron-on method with that. I have never done that before. Well, I know guys that have, so I'm going to give it a try. Yeah, I love that heat lock stuff. It just works perfect every time. But until Mr. Delivery Man brings me a fresh gallon of it, I'm going to have to try my hand at doing the iron-on method with Tape Bond 2. I am kind of going against my usual procedure here. I don't usually apply glue to the veneer first, but rather the cabinet as it soaks up the glue more readily. Looks like I caught my mistake and skipped right to doing the cabinet bottoms. It doesn't matter a whole lot, but I've found that MDF really likes to soak up the glue, so I end up needing to give it a second coat after a few minutes for it to be fully covered, especially the edges. If I start with the cabinet, then roll the glue onto the veneer, I can then go back and recoat the cabinet again if needed to make sure it has full coverage. Then I just let it dry for 30 minutes or so. Well, that one is almost completely tacky. That one has a little bit of tack on it, but very, very little. But the veneer itself is almost cured, almost dry rather. So it does stick a little bit. It's not completely dry to where it's going to slide. I usually do that even when I'm using the heat lock. I'll usually start ironing things before it quite completely dries off. That's just how I do it. That's not exactly following the directions, but I've literally veneered hundreds of things. Literally. Hundreds? Over 100. Literally. Maybe not hundreds. Hundreds might be an exaggeration, but at least 100 I'm positive of items using the iron-on method and been real successful with it, not because I'm anything, but because it's a pretty easy way to do things. This might sound weird, but this is honestly one of the most peaceful feelings that I ever have in life. Quietly ironing on veneer to speaker cabinets in my happy place basement workshop. I just love it. I am using these shears that my parents got me a few years back to take care of a few of the bigger chunks of the overhanging veneer. If you've watched any of my videos where I apply veneer, then you've probably seen this trimming tool I made a few years back. I really like it because it's just easy and hands-on. I don't mind using a trim router, but I just find this method makes me feel more connected to what I'm doing, if that makes any sense. The tool is really just a circular craft razor blade that I made a holder for, so not rocket science, but I like it. That's a pretty decent looking little slice there. If you're aware of a commercially available tool that works the same way, let me know in the comments, please. There isn't much to do after trimming. It basically gets flush to the perpendicular surface, but I do hit it with some 280 or 320 grit just to soften the corner a bit and make sure any wood fiber hairs are removed. I'm using a few loops of painter's tape to hold down the back veneers while I roll on the Titebond 2. This is all basically just more of the same as far as the veneering goes. Despite whatever I seem to be saying in these clips, it looks like I'm trying to impart some wisdom here. But I guess we'll never know since I somehow accidentally recorded like half of this whole project in super slow motion. My camera has a tiny screen and I have fat fingers, so there you go. Okay. Taking the little tape loops off. That actually did a really nice job holding this down. I might use that in the future. My heat lock glue was delivered, so I'm going to do the rest of the cabinet with that stuff. After trimming the back veneers, I'm now going to do the front and sides in one go, thanks to those large roundovers. How long should you iron your veneer? Well, I just read the instruction sheet and it says, and I quote, "With downward pressure, move the iron slowly and give all parts of the veneer ample time to heat up, reactivate, and bond to the substrate." Since these cabinets have a curve to them and the iron isn't laying flat because of that, I am spending a bit more time reactivating the glue for these. I'm going to put a little bit of tape on this because the veneer is trying to curl away from the cabinet and I don't want that. It can curl away enough to where it's trying to pull the veneer away from the cabinet. It's only curling because it's damp, it's moist. It's trying to expand. And the only way it can expand is by curling like that. Everything else looks pretty good. Whoa! That's sticky. Wasn't expecting that. That acted a little bit like contact cement. Well, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to press this with my hand. Yeah, I've had this happen a few times. Like I said, I like to leave the glue ever so slightly tacky, not 100% dry. And sometimes it's a smidge more tacky than you think it is. But no harm, no foul in this case. I bet you thought something bad was about to happen though, right? I think we're good. I like the DIY audio guy Justin's quote on this ironing situation. He said, "Don't tell my wife that I know how to use one of these things. That's not something that she needs to know." rather beautiful, if I do say so myself. Well, thanks to the front and both sides being veneered in one application, all that's left to veneer now are the tops. Doing it this way really ended up being a time saver. I probably saved a full day because of this. I rough cut with the razor blade some openings so I could get the router bit in to trim this. This is just that one shaft of carbide steel with a notch round out in it, and the very end of the bit acts as the bearing. I'm going to sneak that in here and try to clean these up real quick. Pop the drivers in real quick just to see what it looks like. Okay, not bad. Oh, looking pretty nice. It's always nice when you get to this point. Very satisfying. You can really see what the speaker's going to look like, and all the work you did in trying to get the driver openings and recesses correct really pays off now looking at it. I have to get the other speaker to this point as well, but I had a boo-boo with the veneer that I need to get patched up before I can apply the finish. So in the process of sanding these for applying the final finish, I came across this. My wife felt it before I did, but this doesn't look like much because the grain goes through, but there's a little bit of a divot there, and you can feel that in your finger. And I want to take care of that. How am I going to take care of that? Well, we've got different products that we can use. This is ZAP dark tone wood filler. There's all kinds of different wood fillers you can use. But there's a couple important things about applying this, and you want to be careful when you do it, because if you just smush that in this whole grain area, it's going to look kind of bad. It's going to all look one tone. It's going to all look like this color because it's going to work its way into the grain. What you kind of want to do with something like this is get a piece of tape and tear it, not straight, some kind of like random, find out where the edges of it are, kind of a random pattern there, and you want to sort of cover up the vicinity around it, but leave that exposed. Okay, just going to work a little bit of that in there. Just take a little bit and apply it. That's it. You filled the hole. It's the color of the grain is similar to the darker spot and the lighter spot. It's sort of in between, and that's it. All right, it's been a good hour or so. I'm going to take the tape off. When you do that, it kind of leaves the area that you put the filler in untouched. Now that doesn't look awful, but it doesn't look great. Although it is filled in, like it's technically sort of smooth. So let me just hit this with the sandpaper and see what it looks like. wet my thumb, and that will probably approximate what it'll look like with a finish on it. Well, it doesn't look bad. I wouldn't say it looks perfect, but it blends in a lot better than that little divot did, so I'd say that's pretty much a success. Now, if you wanted to be particular, maybe you could draw in some of that green line there and maybe some of that one there. I am not that particular. I think that's fine. Well, let me keep sanding it until I mess it up. How's that? As you back up, it's much less easy to see. Now it's time for some fun stuff. Applying the finish. You know, I've really been warming up to the water-based polyurethane finishes over the past few years. My favorite is general finishes, but a very close second, believe it or not, is this Verithane poly that you can get at your local Home Depot. Yeah, it goes on looking like milk, but it dries super clear, and it lets the beauty of the wood really shine through without yellowing at all. I started with the crystal clear matte finish, but then went to a satin finish as the matte looked a touch dry with this veneer. I think the end result looks pretty good. Not shiny, but even looking. I really like the look. The next video will be the last in the series. I'll get the crossover designed and installed and wrap everything up. Well, that's it for this one. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.